So, welcome to this special News Burst Live, which isn't live anymore because for some reason Zoom and Facebook are just not playing ball with us today. So, unfortunately, we can't go live and do it. So instead, we're doing this little kind of post-edited kind of job instead. So, you know, more work for me, which is great. Joining me, Diagnostic 80.
I'm always a fan of more work for you, Chris. That's good.
There you go. There's a voice.
Love it.
A couple of voices on the show. We've got Justin joining us all the way from sunny New Hampshire. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Not too well. I've been better.
Well, that's a lie. I'm not doing all right. I'm traumatized and upset and crying in my beer, but I'm all right.
And we've also got Paddy, who from all the way from Sunny Island. It is actually sunny by the looks of things. How you doing, bud?
Good. I mean, I didn't have to leave the house to go looking for Target exclusives that don't exist in my country anyway.
Oh, I was going to ask how your hunt went, but obviously the same as ours.
I'm just here as an emotional support animal for the Joe community at large.
So Paddy is our emotional support animal. That's amazing. Okay, so the deal is we wanted to do this as a live show to obviously kind of have some interaction with fans. That hasn't been the case. I really apologize. You know, that's just, you know, typical of how Zoom operates with Facebook. They obviously just like to mess with us every now and again. And we tried to really get it going and it just would not happen. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about the Target situation. We're also going to talk a little bit about the computer game, the Operation Blackout console game that came out, or the trailer that came out very recently. We're going to talk through that as well a bit later on. But first off, let's chat Target exclusives. Now, I went out. I was one of many who thought the street date was today. Well, we've been trying to get them for the last, I don't know how many weeks now. And I have actually been, thankfully, quite successful in terms of other people getting them for me. So a big shout out at this point to Fred Axon, Boss Fight Studio, who has actually had a hand in, like, you know, sculpting some of these figures. Most of them. And yet he's having to like hunt for this stuff. It just blows my mind that does not compute to me in my head. So thanks to Fred, he managed to wangle me, and that's a real word, look it up, Beachhead, and also just recently Gung Ho and Cobra Commander, who the Wave 2s that have just started appearing in certain targets, which is crazy because my Pulse thing says like October or November or something. I can't remember which
November,
one it is.
yeah, it's like
ridiculous. I'm not waiting all the way till November, and the hell no, I'm getting them now. So
have most targets even got Wave 1 yet?
Well, that's the thing. Wave 1 is, I've seen, like, in most of the targets I've gone to, I saw there was a standard issue roadblock there today when we went into Smithfield in Massachusetts. And, Rhode Island. And I always get, because they're so close and Rhode Island's tiny and, you know, just I never know.
I don't even live there. I know
in.
Smithfield's not in Massachusetts, Chris. I mean,
Thank you. Apologies to all the people of Smithfield, apart from the target that's there. No, it's a really nice target, actually. So we went in there. There's a roadblock on the shelf, nothing else. We asked them, no, we've got nothing in the back, that everything's sold out. Well, you told us that this was the day that you were going to be selling them. So what's happened? It's just the confusion between, I think, you know, employees and management and Hasbro and Target. It's kind of been all over the place, hasn't it, really? So, but obviously, massive thanks to Fred for doing that for me. Also, massive shout out to John Comer, who hooked myself and Justin up with Roadblock for me. And then Kate found a roadblock as well, Cobra Island one on her travel. So thank you, honey. and he also hooked you up, didn't he, Justin, with Beachhead, right?
Yeah, I ended up getting a couple of hookups of Beachhead, actually, which is pretty cool. I got one from him and got one from John Campbell as well. So shout out to both those guys for helping out with Beachhead. It's
been an amazing time for, I mean, like a lot of really cool Joe fans have been out there busting their butt to get other people figures, and it's been amazing. I have to give a shout out also to Ryan Meltzer. He hooked me up with a Cobra Trooper. And also, and this is an even bigger shout out to Special Mission Force Brian, who sent me for free, just as a thank you for doing the show and everything, a Cobra Trooper. So, dude, nice. I cannot thank you enough for that. Amazing. And I mean, it just shows you the generosity of the fandom at times just blows me away. and that was just great. So
unless you're the Irish member of the podcasting team, in which case you get all.
Yeah, we're not sending anything to Paddy. He ain't getting anything. Mate, although honestly, are there any you're after, by the way, while you're on the show?
I've actually, obviously I'll take anything, but I actually do really like the roadblock. So I've said it to a couple of people, if they see a spare one knocking around, that I'll happily take it off them.
Okay, then. Well, now I've got that information under the hat. You might be getting one from me. Oh, okay. So another thing that we've got to talk about is the online aspect. Now, this is something that really, I am so tired today. I'm not even going to lie, because I stayed up till about 2:15 or something like that Eastern time, and somehow missed Pat's message when it went, like when he noticed that it went live, because he must have just been refreshing the whole time. Shout out to Patrick Stewart. He must have just been refreshing the entire time for that, that period from midnight onwards. And he managed to grab a couple of figures. I think he got a beachhead. I think he got a roadblock. I think he got maybe something else. I don't know. But I was up all night, didn't see anything. Baroness never seemed to go on. Am I right in saying that? And also, she doesn't even seem to be in stores, does she? Yeah. I've heard from plenty of people to say that nobody has seen a Baroness on release day.
They've been seen overseas, kind of in China and stuff, but I have not heard any confirmed reports of anybody seeing her at retail anywhere.
I mean, that's clear to me that they just haven't shipped to this country yet properly. That's right. That's clearly the case by the looks of things. So I'm kind of excited to, like, in the next few weeks, to be starting getting those like sightings and then rushing out to Target again and going all anxious and crazy again.
Excited? You're excited for that? That's not the word I'd use.
Yeah, you're right. Excitement isn't the right word. Terror is the correct.
Foreboding, I think, is the correct place. I think we were saying it earlier as well. We haven't even seen many people get them in hand via, they falling off the back of a truck in Hong Kong sort of route either. Like, we haven't seen many eBay auctions for Baroness either, right?
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
For Beachhead, a few weeks before he came out, we were seeing people with them in hand. We see eBay sales up to a month ago. And we haven't seen anything like that for the Baroness yet. So that makes me think she's at least 3 to 4 weeks away from hitting stores.
And I really want that figure because she looks unbelievably cool. Like, the head sculpt's out of this world. Even the kind of the vehicle, the bike's really cute. I really like that. So I mean, it's just been a bit of a mess, and we're not. And I think I'd be more angry about it. I know you got to kind of put these things in perspective too, but I think I'd be more angry about it if I hadn't been able to kind of get those figures I needed.
Right.
And I'm like really happy that I've managed to get hold of them. So like, I'm not going to be as ragey as most people. I have noticed a lot of rage this morning though. Loads of people upset. I mean, loads of comments on posts we've been making. And, I feel your pain, guys, in a way that, like, it sucks. It really does that these figures are so cool though, that we're desperate to have them. So at least there's that, right? At least it's really cool.
I even saw, there was even G.I. Joe fans like blowing up the Power Rangers video complaining about it. So yeah, they're pretty pissed off,
That's amazing. And what's funny about that is that Corey, who was on that show, the sculptor, he lives in the same building as Kate and I. So I'm going to have to like accidentally end up in his house when he comes back from work one day. I'm sure you won't mind that.
Sitting on his couch, yeah.
Like Nick Fury, put like the eye patch on. I'm starting an initiative called Exclusives. No. Called Scalping. That's another problem as well. That obviously that plagued the first round of online kind of issues with the Target exclusives. Yeah. And I jokingly put out a Battle Online Troopers thing the other day. Go on, Paddy.
I've seen a couple of people posting that Beachhead and Roblox have both come into stock multiple times on Target today.
Yeah.
So they seem to be releasing small amounts of them on a regular basis, and maybe that's a way of trying to defeat the bots.
Okay.
So that they're putting up limited quantities every so often, so you have to check back and so on. Because I've seen a couple of people mention that they've at least been able to get those 2 figures.
How bloody frustrating is that? How frustrating is that though? To just like, there's one, oh, got it.
But I mean,
There's 3. Have those.
Hasbro Pulse does the same thing, doesn't it? Where it puts up a quantity of 1,000 or whatever, and then they sell, and then they put up another 1,000 later on that day. They did that with the Wave 2 reveals and Pimp Daddy Destro.
I feel like with Pulse, they've got a better grip on it as well, though. It's kind of like, here's that first amount. Everyone kind of goes nuts. They have about 20, 30 minutes before it kind of sells out. And that might be stretching it. It's probably a lot shorter than that. But it always feels like people are still getting those figures, a good amount of time afterwards. And then it's like, oh, no, it's all sold out. Oh, the worst thing in the world. And then you get that next level of, product kind of appearing. And it's like, yeah, you kind of think, okay, great. So,
and then you wait 14 months for them to ship it.
Yeah, totally. That's another thing, like the Hasbro Pulse stuff, like having to get that coming. Like I managed to get the first wave from Roma Collectibles, and then Hasbro Pulse shipped them in like individual figures, like in and around that Roma Collectibles delivery. So I got like 3 boxes of like Hasbro Pulse figures, this 1 box of the whole wave from Roma Collectibles, and then the next day I got a Duke, and then the following day I got Destro. It's just like, what is going on? Like, how it makes me laugh a little bit at how all of this is being done. And I know it's odd times, for this to be going on and everything, but it's still kind of crazy.
It's funny you should say that, because I was talking to my local comic shop here last week, and they have an order in, obviously, for all of Wave 1 of Classified, and the only figure they got in was 1 roadblock.
Amazing.
That's it. Yeah. And they're like to Hasbro, the distributor, where's the rest of it? And they're like, this is what we have.
Man.
We sent you what we could complete of your order. So instead of the 10 roadblocks and 50 snake eyes as they ordered, they got 1 roadblock in, and that was
crazy. And like, you think, like, in distribution terms, it's an absolute mess, isn't it? Like, it's all over the place. And again, I don't think it would be as bad if we weren't in 2020 with this horrible, weird situation going on. But I don't know. I feel like there's been some really odd decisions and missteps. Having said that, we did get, and let's kind of move away from Target now, because I mean, the life's too short, right? At this stage. So what we earlier this week, in fact, it was 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago? Earlier this week. To get around that, we got the reveal for the first kind of like look at the gameplay and trailer for G.I. Joe Operation Blackout. Now, I, for one, was actually very surprised in kind of pleasantly surprised when I saw the actual trailer drop. It does scream of the old Rise of Cobra game a little bit, but with way more.
A lot of that, yeah.
Yeah, but like way more kind of. Obviously, more's gone into it visually, I think, and obviously the additional classified designs, I think, add something to it that I don't think, if you took that away, I probably wouldn't be that interested. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, what were your thoughts, like initially, and then we'll have a look at the trailer and we'll kind of go through it as it's playing. But Paddy, what were your thoughts when you first saw it?
It's nice to see all those leaks have been confirmed by characters appearing in the game, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, we could probably guess that the characters like Lady J and so on that show up in the listings and are in the trailer, that's what they're going to look like in their classified figures. Yeah. And actually, the Lady J that shows up is very much in line with what classifieds look like. Like, she has like shin pads and so on her design in the game. So I assume that is like every other classified figure has. So I assume that's probably 90% of what she's going to look like when the figure gets out. If it ever gets released.
You'll be able to make a football team with the classified series because they're all wearing shin guards. It's amazing. Sorry, soccer for Justin.
Yeah, what are you talking about? They don't have any helmets. They can't play football without helmets.
Exactly. Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. I mean, Destro and Cobra Commander and the Cobra Trooper, it'll be the best NFL team ever. So, yeah, okay. So, Justin, what were your thoughts initially when you first saw the trailer?
Oh, I was pretty excited. I mean, like you said, it definitely has kind of a licensed sort of game feel to it. It's not, any kind of blockbuster, massive platform or anything like that. But it reminded me a lot of Rise of Cobra. And, I was just excited to see sort of the classified designs come to life. That was pretty huge for me too. I like seeing those character designs in play and seeing all the kind of sneak peeks at characters that haven't been released yet and stuff like that. And a nice mix of vintage and classified things. You saw a lot of vintage vehicles around, and it was a lot of fun. And there was kind of a hint of cell shading. It almost looked like in some of the screens where it almost looked like animated, so to speak. So that was pretty cool too. So it was fun. I liked it.
Well, let's have a look through the video. We'll play it and kind of have a look again and kind of like talk through it a little bit. Check this out. I've turned it down a little bit so we don't have too much blaring out. So we start off with the flag, Sky Strikers.
Yeah, so we're getting a flag for classified. That's confirmed, right?
A couple of things I noticed. Obviously, the purple highlights in the Baroness's hair. That looks like Lady J running on the left, and then Wild Weasel. It's happening so fast. We'll watch it.
There was a bat in that shirt too, it looked like.
Yeah, definitely. Storm Shadow not with his tattoos by the looks of it as well, which is quite interesting.
Right.
That's the bit that reminded me of Rise of Cobra, where you've got like the pull-out shot and then the kind of, the bomb kind of explosion thing.
Exactly.
Arashikage Temple level.
Baroness is kiss of death.
Yes, yeah, with the purple hearts. Interesting, they're in a rattler when they ejected there. Did you notice that?
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
End of the line, Joe. You're trapped like the rat you are. Kneel before Cobra.
There's the world accessory that comes with the deluxe.
Yeah, I love that.
Obviously, the Baroness has got a lot of the detail going on that we've seen in artwork prior to her releases with the coil cycle. We're pretty sure that figure is going to be coming out as a single carded version further down the line.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Mm-hmm.
Seems pretty bang on that, doesn't it? And also, it does line up with, we did get some leaked information of a Mantis figure. Now, Mantis is Baroness's kind of code word, that has internal code word that Hasbro have been utilizing. So it's kind of information that we're almost certain will, bear fruit. So we're probably going to get the purple highlights. Now, that's more than highlights. That's just a blob of purple, isn't it? It looked like.
That was weird, yeah.
It looks like she's got like a sock, like a purple sock just on the back of her head. I mean,
can you imagine the designs are like, you just need to put a big purple blob there. That's
done.
Necessary, yeah.
This is easy on Photoshop. Brush tool. There we go. Done. And obviously, like I said, like Storm Shadow with no tattoos. That was quite interesting because all the artwork we've seen of that particular version of Storm Shadow, which we again we've had the information of Mantis like coming out as a single carded. We haven't had information necessarily about that Storm Shadow as a single figured card. So that strikes me as quite interesting. But there's loads of stuff to kind of unpack in that game. I mean, not just on the trailer, but also they added a load of screenshots afterwards, just to show you random screenshots. And one of those screenshots was the Persuader. How cool did that look? Especially with all the tampos on it, with Dead End and like Guy Cassaday's name, which he kind of snuck on there back in the day when he designed the vehicle. So I love the fact they kept all that.
The one slight difference is they shortened the cannon barrel.
That's a good point.
Which is the same thing they did with the Hiss as well. So we're assuming that blue Cobra vehicle is a Hiss 2, I think.
Yeah. By the looks of things,
they changed the turret on it, and they changed the turret on the Persuader as well. So the long cannon barrel is shortened down significantly.
Yeah, the Hiss 2. That Hiss 2. When I first saw it, I was like, it looks like a Hiss 2, but I'm not 100% sure. And I love the fact they had like the little skull and crossbones on there, which I think is actually on the Hiss 2. But for a second there, I was like, "Oh, red shadows," but it's not. So shut up, McLeod. The gameplay looks kind of fun. It's third-person shooter. It's co-op. It's PvP. There's lots of different kind of game options in there, include loads of different styles of games that you can play in it, which I think they've kind of just opened it up by the looks of things to do all sorts of different stuff. And the fact that you can be one of 12 playable characters from the off seems pretty cool to me. Like that seems like a a really good idea.
They had a bunch of other skins too for weapons and for characters as well, I believe it said.
Absolutely. Like, there's that kind of
different uniforms or something.
Well, Scarlet's on it with a winter uniform, isn't she, as well as regular?
Yeah.
Lady J seems to have that. That guy that looks like sci-fi, which is it sci-fi?
But with the colors inverted. So I imagine are you going to see a sci-fi with the actual colors and then the inverted colors is his other uniform?
Well,
like in fighting games or whatever.
Okay, stay with me on this, because it could be really, really cool, or it could be like, really? Yes, it's probably sci-fi, but we have had information that barbecue is coming out in the classified line. Now, I'm just throwing it out there because it's a winter operations situation that character's in. I would put money on it being sci-fi, but I'm just throwing this out there. Could that be a barbecue, and then the barbecue that comes out, or like the standard barbecue, is just that orangey red,
orange black,
looking like that? I mean, is that possible, or have I just gone absolutely crazy?
I think if you released a barbecue who looks too much like sci-fi, the Joe fandom would burn down Hasbro's headquarters. These people didn't want gold shin guards. Could you imagine if you released a wrong colored sci-fi as barbecue?
Yeah, and also
never hear the end of it.
You just have loads of customs of sci-fi, wouldn't you? That'd be it. It'd just be like easiest custom ever. So yeah, I'm just throwing it out there because I like to do that. I like to throw out the variables that never come true.
I'm inclined to believe it's just an alternate skin. You know, those games where you both pick the same character and you get an off-color version.
Yeah,
I imagine it's just that.
It's Ryu, is what it is. It's Ryu, but in like a different color.
Same sprites, different character.
Exactly. Well, yeah. So, and I would say though that the Arctic gear does look considerably different. So maybe there's a little bit of modeling going on there where they change certain aspects of it. But yeah, Lady J, Scarlet, they look amazing in the winter gear. Yeah. Okay. So the other main thing is Zartan. I mean, that's
I know nobody mentioned Zartan yet. Yeah.
I've been like, the Persuader's in it, and it's like, mate, Zartan. Yeah. So, what do you guys think of the addition of that kind of like comedy tragedy mask kind of thing he's got? Do you think that's quite cool? Or
that's
what
awesome. That's a neat twist. Yeah, very neat twist. Kind of similar to how his vintage had that little like mask that you could pull off. It's kind of an interesting way of looking at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that the game is basically G.I. Joe does Fortnite. That's something that Fortnite does as well, where it doesn't take itself too seriously. Yeah. And I can see that they've put that in there to have, to not take G.I. Joe too seriously, where they have, it's a joke where he has, the smiling and the comedy tragedy mask, as you say. So it's a very Fortnite flourish, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
In terms of a design choice.
I mean, that's something that's come up quite a lot, hasn't it? In the kind of whole design aesthetic, and that they even mentioned it in the stream, the first stream, the first Friday stream they did, the fan event, where it was gaming came up a lot, gamify and all that kind of stuff. Lots of like these little kind of terms that they kept talking about, and without saying Fortnite, because obviously they can't say that. They were just saying they're kind of working around it. We can, because we don't have to worry about it. But yeah, really, really cool. I'm super excited for this and can't wait to actually play it, because I feel like even with Rise of Cobra, even though the movie was, utter grundles, the game I really enjoyed. And one of the main things I enjoyed about it was that the aspect of unlocking characters and, kind of getting like, oh, here's Charbroil and here's Flash and here's like, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. It was like, like collecting the figures. I remember completing it and being like, oh man, there's like 5 characters I haven't found. So I had to go back and do it again. Like I was kind of like, wow, they've really done quite well to do that for a game that is, in essence, kind of crap, but lots of fun.
It's interesting. I was talking derisively about the Rise of Cobra video game a little while ago with a friend of mine, kind of saying that, it was nothing that exciting. It's like, are you sure? I played that back then. I thought it was pretty fun. So I actually kind of been trying it again lately, and it's fun. It's a lot more fun than I remember it being. And what I forgot somehow is that it actually takes place kind of after the movie. So you actually see like what happens afterwards, which I thought was a really cool touch. And, you know, all of it negated with retaliation, of course, but, it was a lot more fun than I initially gave it credit for. So I think I'm a little bit more excited about Blackout kind of with that in mind, you know, that it doesn't have to be, you know, a grade A, you know, blockbuster. It can just be a fun shooter, and, you know, that's what it looks like it's going to be.
Absolutely.
And hey, Rise of Cobra gave us probably two of the better figures of that toy line in Helix and Flash.
100% agree.
Yep.
In fact, I was going to talk about Helix, and I thought I'll let Paddy lean into Helix because that's his favorite character. But
Helix is awesome. Yeah,
she was brilliant, and the fact that I love that the comic that came out around about the same time, the G.I. Joe Helix kind of sub series that was just like 4 issues, I think, maybe less than that. But that,
it was double-sized one shot.
One shot, yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. So, you know, I really enjoyed that. That kind of gave her a bit more character. And then recently, you know, Nito Diaz and Larry breathed even more life into the character when they brought her into the whole Dawn Moreno kind of arc, which was great. Like, I'm really kind of that was probably one of my favorite comic arcs of the recent Real American Hero run. So much fun in those comics. So many cool like set pieces, like the oil rig, which I somehow have this obsession over oil rig infiltration. I don't know why. I always loved seeing the Joes
something dark in your childhood, no doubt.
Something happened, didn't it? Something happened. It was probably just reading the comics. I'm sure there's an oil rig story in one of the Marvel UK comics that I'm just, and obviously there's the tactical battle platform, which is just amazing, and that needs to be upgraded and updated in. You know, I'd love to see that in this game. If they did stuff like that,
I was going to say, if they took in some of the play sets from, you know, that'd be amazing.
Amazing. I mean, like Rise of Cobra did it. They had the pit, which was really well utilized in the game. Like, it kind of made up for like quite a clunky mess of a toy, which is still fun and it's still a cool play set and it opens out. I really wish though they'd done that. I know you guys have seen it. We've discussed it in the past, but that kind of hiss tank type Cobra
hiss tank garage.
Yeah, that they use the pit parts of the pit for. Then they kind of like custom, like kit bashed it a little bit, didn't they? To unreleased thing. I mean, that was just incredible.
Yeah,
if they'd gone with that, following the pit, I think that would have sold out.
Definitely.
At Ross, yes.
Could you imagine those boxes? Like about 20 of them piled up in a tiny...
It's so funny. The last time I was in Spain, which is about 2 years ago, I walked into an El Corte Inglés, and that pit, that Rise of Cobra pit, was still on sale in their toy section.
Nice.
That's how many years after it was released?
For like $4.99 at Kohl's department store, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I bought...
El Corte Inglés still wanted the full price for it.
What was it, like $600
in 2018? So
that's hilarious. I remember getting that from Nick when it was Toys and Games, not In Demand Toys. That's how long ago that was. And I went into his shop. We didn't know we knew each other, but we're not in the way we know it, not in the intimate way we know each other now.
Not biblical like you do now.
Yeah, not like, not that way. And I'm gonna edit that out. And I'm not. And I remember going in there, and he had them. Like I bought the one for like what I think like $100. I think £100. I can't remember what it was. I don't exactly remember how much it was, but I remember paying like the full asking price. I went back in. Must have been like 6 weeks later, and he had 2 more at £30. And I was like, right. And I have got, I think, 3 pits. I've got 3 of those. I've never opened any of them. They're just in the storage bar.
Well, you're not missing much because they come with a terrible Hawk figure.
Oh, with the skinny legs. Yes, those skinny legs.
It took me 3 days to put the stickers on that stupid thing.
Mate, it probably took me that long to do the stickers on the Sky Striker. Thanks, Katrina. No step. I'm looking at you, Katrina Aranya. Yeah, okay, cool. So we all seem to be happy. Now, Paddy, are you going to be getting this game?
I haven't owned a console in 5 years, so I doubt that's going to happen.
He's gonna have to buy a console as well, and he's gonna do it. I'm certainly getting it for the Xbox One, and I think Kate's getting a Nintendo Switch soon, and so we're gonna have to get it on both platforms, aren't we? I mean, that's the law, I think.
I mean, you have to support the brand,
Exactly. Yeah, so I'll have to buy a PS4, is what you're saying as well. Okay, fine, I'll do it. Even though there's a PS5 coming out, like. When does the PS5 come out, or has it come out?
It's due early next year.
Okay.
So the Xbox is due late this year, and then the PS5 is early next year.
Okay. I'm just concerned that I'll get the new upgrade, and then I won't have Rise of Cobra.
Well, it's all backwards compatible anyway, so
Good. It will need to be.
When I was buying video game consoles, I was generally buying them about 4 years behind. So that way I knew what games were good for it. So I'm like, I buy an Xbox 360, when the Xbox One came out. I'm like, I get a 360 now because I know that there's enough games there and they're all half price or whatever. Secondhand games are freely available. And that's how I used to buy consoles when I bought consoles.
I bought my first, I'd been out of gaming for, I think PlayStation 2 was the last one I had, and then I didn't jump back on until Xbox 360, and when I was working at Toys R Us in the electronics department, and I could get the money off, and I could, it was like this deal over the weekend that was like, it was ridiculous. It was like, get this system with this game and then get these other 2 games for like, really cheap, and I'm like, okay, and then I've just been a slave to it.
I've only ever bought one game at full price in my life, and that was Mass Effect 3. Because generally I buy these things a generation behind, but they were still releasing new 360 games when I had a 360. So like, well, Mass Effect 3, I'd buy that full price.
That's the way to do it. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do a couple of questions, if anyone has any. Kurt DeHart says, I saw some Cobra Troopers and wasn't interested. Should I have been interested? Yes, you should have been interested.
Say one to me, Kurt.
If not for your sake, then for ours. I mean, come on now.
I just send all of them this way. Adam Drake says, I thought maybe it was up only for a minute and I missed it. It's kind of been up and down, and you have to just be there refreshing the entire time in order to be involved in this stuff, mate. So don't worry too much.
Collectors are not about driving to the store now. We're about just constantly hitting F5 like every 2 seconds for our entire lives.
Just clicking.
Who wants to be going around stores when there's a pandemic on?
I know. I'm not a fan of it.
Even if I had the choice of going to 5 different Walmarts to look for these figures, I don't think I would.
No, I must admit, I'm the same. Like, I don't like going. We don't go out very often. When we go out, it's because G.I. Joe have released new action figures.
Well, at least you got your priorities straight, right?
Alex Ashcroft says, I was told by multiple Target employees at multiple stores that they will not sell until the 14th, but confirmed the figures were there. The 14th comes and they never made it to shelves. Neat. Yeah. Good point. We did have that too. I know. By the way, I know these aren't questions.
I saw something on his tank where if people book them online, book them for collection, it's possible that they were in stock in the back, and then people booked them online early this morning, so they never made it to the shelves because people had already booked them to collect on store.
I would agree with that, but having known a couple of stores in this area where I'd gone and had the same issue, I knew that Fred had gone and managed to get figures from those particular stores. So I think a lot of the time it was if it was a luck of the draw as to who you got employee wise. Some of them would come back with the figures, just give them to you, and away you go. Some of them would come back and say, there's a street date on it, I can't put it out, etc., etc. You'd explain to them, they'd go back, they'd speak to the manager would come out, you'd speak to the manager, and then you'd get a figure, or you wouldn't. Like these are these are all the different options that you could get going into a Target. Some people were lucky and they'd go in and they were on the shelf. They were stocked, and it was just like yoink, 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 yoink. And it seems to be such a disparity from state to state. It seems to be like, in certain states, like Marauder Reuben, I'll give him a shout out. I forget which state he's in. Do you know, Justin, what state Marauder Reuben's in?
I think he's back in Chicago.
Oh, yes, he's in that era, definitely, because he said he definitely went to Chicago, yes. He's been going into stores and getting Cobra Troopers almost like every other day.
He's got like 20 of them. If anybody wants his address, let me know, and you can go bust into his house and take some of his Cobra Troopers.
No, definitely do not bust into Marauder Reuben's house.
Yeah, that's
a good point.
Not a good idea.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. He has just as many guns as he does Cobra Troopers.
Yeah, and those aren't Nerf guns.
Yeah. He doesn't have the long strike that the Cobra Trooper has. Can I just say, I did see a Nerf long strike on shelf in the Target we went to, and for some stupid reason, I didn't buy it. Because I said to Kate the other day, we're going to have to get all these Nerf weapons, aren't we? And she was like, yeah, we will. So
cosplaying for the finest, you know.
She got the... Kate got it's the zombie version crossbow, which seems to me like an almost exact replica of Scarlet's crossbow. So that's really cool. So she's going to paint that up and do a cosplay, I think, for that one. So
nice.
Ruin that for you, honey. Sorry. Rob Walsh says, I actually was able to manage a pre-order last month on the Target app for Beachhead and Roadblock. They were on track to ship this week until yesterday. Somehow on back order and shipping next week. That's probably, Rob, because people have been getting them out the back and selling them, you know, the ones that have been allotted for that particular purpose. That's another thing, isn't it? It just seems like such a distribution nightmare.
And is it me, or did the stores that even got stuff in don't seem to have got more than like one case of each figure? Like nobody's seeing like 20 Cobra Troopers on the shelves. They're seeing 6, which is a case.
Yeah.
You know, they're seeing 6 roadblocks or 6 beachheads. They're not seeing 12 or 14 or whatever. It seems that every store has got like one case of each.
What I will say though, Paddy, is you will have no trouble getting a roadblock, because next time we're out and we see one, we'll grab you one. In actual fact, I'll probably end up sending you one that we already have. But that roadblock is kind of, and people are calling it shelf warming already, peg warming. It kind of is like, and it's a shame really. It seems like loads of places are getting the one figure that isn't an army builder. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you'd think like in terms of numbers, wouldn't you make more for army builders? It just seems odd to me that we get these these odd numbers in manufacture. I don't know.
Tell it to the Red Ninja.
Oh, goodness me.
Another 1 per case Red Ninja.
Short-packed Red Ninja is crazy to me. But I pre-ordered 2 on Pulse. If I get them, great. Sometime in 2075, that's fine. Well, okay, John Campbell says, I've never seen anything like this. I hope G.I. Joe Hasbro Pulse steps up and communicates better about all the confusion. They were never available from actual online stock today, like they said it would be. It was just people buying figures online from store locations that still had some left in stock. So they were able to do store pickup or arrange delivery from a local Target, but that's it. Gustav says, while the damn scalpers hoard Cobra troops, we can only get a few of the new G.I. Joe classified figures. And I mean, I feel your pain, guys. It sucks, but at the same time, like I still feel like we're going to get an abundance of these beyond the street date. And I think it's just a matter of Hasbro catching up with what this has been like. They probably underestimated the demand for one. They probably the first error was obviously selling a sugar ton online to bots, which was clearly the case, wasn't it? I mean, scalpers, bots, etc., literally rinsed that first amount of figures, giving the guys that are going into stores, the guys that want to actually be, enjoying these figures, no chance whatsoever to actually own them. So again, like, I don't know what the solution is really.
I mean, the only thing I'd say is, this is a Hasbro-produced action figure. This isn't like, Boss Fight Gazoge, where there's only 500 of a certain color. There's probably tens of thousands of each of these figures.
Yeah.
We know what the production runs Hasbro run are like. This isn't like, a 1,500 number club exclusive, for example, where they only did 1,500 of some of their figures. There's probably at least 10 to 15,000 of each of these figures out there. Yeah. And it's just they will eventually wash through, I hope. So people, everybody gets a chance to own some. I think they will, mate. Yeah, I think we'll get them eventually, and I think the stores will literally be flooded with them. We'll definitely be roadblocks there, which is a shame because he is such a good figure. And what's interesting is the first one I got, the shades are shorter and they go in the sides, but it's a bit of a balancing act getting those shades on. I got another version that Kate found in store and picked one up for me and Fred. So we did pay him back slightly. And when when I kind of opened it and saw the shades, there's a little like extra flare on the other shade. So
I'm not sure if it's a variant, or someone said, isn't that just the way it came out of the mold? Possibly, but honestly, the difference is so it's subtle.
It's not mold flash. Yeah, it's
subtle,
it's
but it is
big enough that it's something.
Yeah, that's what I think anyway, because it literally changes shape and does that, and it's enough to make those shades solid on that figure. So those shades stay on really, really tight, and the other ones are a bit like, you know. So So again, like, I don't know what my point is. Yeah, that figure is amazing, and I love, like, I definitely want one to customize. So I'm going to do a Tiger Force roguelike, because he's he's wearing a vest, so I'll just paint that green, and then he's got the, you can just do the brown and yellow Tiger Force pants, and then you've got a cool head on him. I mean, that could pull that off and put a standard roadblock head on it as well. So that's another thing. Like, I didn't think they were going to be so customizable, but I've seen an image that Marauder Rubin showed. Again, shouting out to him again. He's getting a lot of shouts today, and he literally took the whole thing apart and like sprayed it out, and it's really, like, once you get the pins out, it's quite easy to kind of break apart. Apparently, that's pretty much the show today. Then we've talked Target to death. We've talked the computer game, and we're excited for that, October the 13th, 2020. Fingers crossed it's not
that's not a Friday, is it?
I've pre-ordered it, so if it doesn't just arrive, apparently it's delivered on the day. We shall see. But we could do like a live play of that game together. That would be quite fun. We should definitely do that. Awesome. Not you, Paddy. You can just watch.
No, I can just watch. Well, that's what I used to do when I was a kid, because we were never allowed on video game consoles in my house. So the only video gaming I get to do as a kid was watch my friends play games.
Mate, that's sad. Anyway, we're gonna go now and cry about Paddy's horrible situation. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. Paddy over in Ireland. Thank you, Paddy.
Bye.
Thank you, Justin, over in New Hampshire, not too far from me.
Thank you. Nope, not at all.
And of course, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Again, apologies, we can do this properly in the live fashion. I'll get this out as soon as I can, and you'll see it. You don't even need to know that. Anyway, this has been the Full Force News Burst Live. I have been Diagnostic 80, and see you next time. And as always, we're all going to say it at once after 3. 1, 2, 3. Full Force! Or just all over the place. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force, and if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback or questions. We have also started a Patreon page, so if you want to see your name up in lights on these videos or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.
G.I. Joe fans, welcome to Cobra Convergence 5. Cobra Convergence is the G.I. Joe fan community's month-long celebration of G.I. Joe's eternal enemy, Cobra. Please join as your favorite G.I. Joe podcasters, YouTubers, photographers, and cosplayers present new Cobra content for the entire month of August.
G.I. Joe, the Full Force Podcast, Half the Battle, Special Mission Force, Comic Tropes, Toy Polloi, Plastic Battles, Scorched Earth Creations.
Every day in August, we'll spotlight a G.I. Joe fan creator with new Cobra-related content. That's a dose of Cobra every single day of the month.
Talking Joe, a G.I. Joe podcast. Merry Mercenary Cosplay. Order of Battle podcast. Cobra Island. SEO Toy Review. MacDowell. Nate Myler. Fun School Roni.
The full lineup of creators is now available at HTC788.com. Make sure you subscribe and follow each one so you don't miss anything.
Joe Motion Videos 82, JLS Comics, What's on Joe Mind Podcast, The Human Mechanism Mark II, Green Yeti 907, My Side of the Laundry Room, The File Card Podcast, Real Hector Canales.
We want every G.I. Joe fan to get involved, support the fan community, and show us your creativity. You will find instructions at hcc788.com for how you can join the Convergence with your own Cobra creations.
Joe Fan 82, Jay Bottom, codename New2Vero2, Painted Plastic, Joe Colton Cosplay, Hooded Cobra Commander 788.
It's time to turn the world blue. Cobra Blue. Go to hcc788.com right now and get ready for the Convergence. Oh.